I am your last line of defense on all these issues, and you know that. Majority Leader, would you now look for the Minister of National Treasury and walk him into the chamber for the solemn business of this afternoon? Yes, Rosa Buyu, what is the point of order?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I like it that you say the minister, but I also want to add something. Probably you just forgot to mention the expert minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister, take your seat. Take your seat. Order. Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I have a short communication. Who is the member with his phone? Who is the member behind KJ? Honorable Gonzirai, you are one of the fathers of this house. We forgive you. Okay, order members. Section 40 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order 244C require the Cabinet Secretary for the National Raising Measures for the national government each financial year. Pursuant to the said provisions, I will shortly interrupt the business of the House to allow the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning to make a public pronouncement on the budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for the national government for the year 2025, 2026, and the medium term. In accordance with the standing orders, I have also designated a suitable place in the chamber for that purpose. Honorable members, as we welcome the Cabinet Secretary to the National Assembly, I wish to remind the House that today's event is largely ceremonial. No decision will be required on the speech as the supply period, which commences with the consideration of the budget estimates and concludes with the enactment of an appropriation act, is still ongoing. Having said that, honorable members, and before we proceed, I take this opportunity to acknowledge and recognize the presence of distinguished guests in the galleries of the House today, both the Speaker's Gallery and the public gallery. They include members of Cabinet, Principal Secretaries, Chairpersons, and Chief Executive Officers of various parastatals, senior government officials, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and development partners. Honorable members, I also wish to recognize and appreciate the presence of university student leaders and their colleagues from our universities across the country, members of Bunge la Wananchi, representatives of various youth and women groups, a group of traders representing a cross-section of our small-scale business community, including border riders who are with us today. On behalf of the National Assembly and on my own behalf, I welcome all of you to the National Assembly. Before I invite the Cabinet Secretary to make the pronouncement, I wish to remind the House that in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 244C3, the Cabinet Secretary shall be heard in total silence, without question or clarification being sought by any one of you. Honorable members, and you'll only cheer by thumping your feet, not by verbal expressions. Honorable members, I now interrupt the business of the House to allow the Cabinet Secretary to make a public pronouncement on the budget policy highlights and revenue-raising measures for the national government for the financial year 2025-2026. The Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning, Honorable FCPA John Mbandi Ngonga, AGH. You are now invited to proceed. I thank you, members. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and honorable members of the National Assembly. I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for granting me this opportunity to read budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, it is with great honor and privilege that I present to this esteemed House and the people of Kenya the budget statement for the financial year 2025-2026 budget. I make this statement in compliance with Section 40 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and the Standing Order number 241 of the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, these legal provisions give life to the building constitutional requirements of good governance to which the President and certainly the National Treasury and Economic Planning remain fully committed to. Mr. Speaker, at the outset, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to His Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, for the trust he bestowed upon me by appointing me as the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning to provide leadership in economic and financial affairs of our country. I remain mindful of the aspirations and high expectations of the Kenyan people as I serve in this office. The Constitution protects realization of economic, social, and cultural rights, which includes the rights to adequate food, to adequate housing, to education, right to health, to social security, and to take part in cultural life, to water and sanitation, and also right to work. This budget, Mr. Speaker, speaks to these rights and reaffirms the priority policies and strategies aimed at stimulating economic recovery, articulated in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, otherwise known as BETTER, while highlighting the achievements over the past 2.5 years in enhancing the livelihoods of Kenyans. At its core, BETTER has adopted a value chain approach, focusing on strategic investment in areas that generate the highest impact, particularly in job creation and income generation at the grassroots level. Mr. Speaker, significant successes have been achieved through targeted intervention. These measures have laid a solid foundation for economic recovery and set us on a path towards long-term growth and stability. Mr. Speaker, let me mention just a few achievements under BETTER. First, the Kenyan economy has remained resilient and registered an 5.2% for the period between 2023 and 2024, outpacing both global growth of 3.3% and 3.8% for the sub-Saharan African region over the same period. Other macroeconomic fundamentals such as inflation and exchange rates have strongly rebounded and are projected to remain stable. Second, the government has rolled out fertilizer and seed subsidies to farmers across the country and revived underperforming or collapsed export crops such as pyrethrum. Since February 2024, Mr. Speaker, a total of 6.5 million registered farmers have benefited from the fertilizer subsidy program. And as a result of these initiatives, the cost of fertilizer has declined by 67%, from Kenya shillings 7,500 in 2022 to 2,500 in 2025. While maize production has increased by 38.9%, from 61.7 million bags in 2022 to 85.7 million bags in 2024. This is a clear demonstration of the positive impact of our agricultural reforms towards food security and improved household income. Third, to support livelihoods and small businesses, the government has disbursed loans amounting to over 75 billion by the end of May 2025 through the Financial Inclusion Fund, popularly known as the Hustler Fund. This initiative has provided access to affordable credit to over 26 million customers with a strong base of 9 million repeat borrowers and a repayment rate of 79%. A total of 4.5 million borrowers are eligible to be graduated to the mainstream financing institutions. And to build a culture of savings for the future, the fund has also successfully mobilized 4.5 billion in savings from its beneficiaries. Fourth, to enhance the element of universal health coverage, the government has expanded social health insurance. And as of May 2025, more than 22 million Kenyans were registered with the Social Health Authority, what we call SHA, representing a remarkable 175% increase in membership compared to the 8 million previously enrolled under the defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF. This marks a major milestone, Mr. Speaker, in our health sector reforms and brings us closer to our goal of equitable, affordable, and accessible health care for all. Fifth, in fulfillment of the commitment to deepen home ownership and close the housing gap, the government has facilitated the construction of affordable housing units across the country. Since September 2022, 2,379 affordable housing units have been completed across 4 counties, with another 11,000 units in the last stages of completion. The units have been advertised for sale to the... Mr. Speaker and honorable members, these efforts have created over 250,000 direct and indirect jobs, over 250,000 direct and indirect jobs for Kenyans. In addition, over 11 billion has been ring-fenced for Juakali and MSMEs to support local fabrication of steel doors, windows, and other construction materials. Sixth, to drive digital transformation and inclusion, the government has expanded last-mile fiber optic connectivity to 13,590 kilometers into 53%. Two, established 285 digital hubs across the country and also increased the number of digitized government services from 350 in 2022 to 20,900 and ensuring seamless access for all Kenyans. Seventh, to promote access to reliable and competitive energy, the government has expanded energy generation by installing an additional 167 megawatts of electricity from 332,839 more customers to electricity. The system peak has increased from 2,316 megawatts of electricity in February 2025. The total number of customers connected to electricity has increased to 10 million in 2025 from 8.9 million in 2022. Eighth, to boost education and training outcomes in the country as a tool of creating equality in the society, the government has invested significant resources and implemented radical changes in the education sector. And these include resolving the uncertainty around the competency-based curriculum, CBC, launching of the Kenya Education Management Information System, the teacher-student ratio. The government has recruited 76,000 teachers, including junior secondary school teachers. Further, the government has that include overtaxation and high cost of living, unemployment, need for protection of the poor and vulnerable, and more importantly, the need to reduce government expenditure and wastage of resources across the national and county governments. Mr. Speaker, I am alive to these domestic challenges facing Kenyans and the external factors such as geopolitical tensions and shifting global trade dynamics that lead to escalation of the cost of essential commodities in the country, requiring comprehensive responses by government. As you may recall, the social unrest precipitated by the Finance Bill of 2024 brought to the fore the importance of values and principles of governance as enshrined in our Constitution. In response and to win public trust, we have stated procurement system on April 7, 2025. And beginning of 1st July 2025, all procurement by ministries, departments, and agencies will be done through the e-procurement system without any exception. This will reduce the opaqueness and save government resources, estimated at 10% of procurable budgets. Sixth, we have taken deliberate efforts to enhance transparency and promote inclusive policy making and deepen public understanding of government economic priorities. We have not only intensified media engagement through the TV stations and radios, but have also engaged the public in open places like Jivanji Garden, Bunge la Mwananchi, and Mombasa County, where we held a meeting at Swahili Port Amphitheater. Similar engagements have taken place in other locations in Nairobi, Mombasa, Eldoret, and Nyeri, thereby providing valuable insights which have been taken into consideration while preparing this budget. Seventh, Mr. Speaker, in order to create additional jobs for the youth, the government has begun Climate Works, a nationwide program that will engage over 110,000 youth across all 47 counties. The program started last year in Nairobi's informal settlements and has been a great success. Now it is being expanded to the rest of the country. Climate Works is designed as a social support program that gives young people paid work to communities. The youth will help build roads, plant trees, and clean up the environment in their neighborhoods. Thus, through this climate work, the government is not only providing a paycheck to help young people meet their immediate needs, but also offering financial support to help them develop themselves and their families. Indeed, the program enables them to save money and prepare for their next steps, including starting businesses, continuing their education, or register ahead of the registration deadline. Today, Mr. Speaker, having heard Kenyans loud and clear, we have accommodated their diverse concerns in the financial year 2025-2026 budget. And in this regard, this budget provides highlights of the measures the government has taken to stimulate economic recovery, strengthen macroeconomic stability, and enhance resilience. Context that His Excellency the President has urged us to put our differences aside, build bridges, and focus on implementation of strategic interventions for a better Kenya. Mr. Speaker, in this respect, the